He has a wealth of knowledge, and we talk about the cartels, their capabilities, and the potential threat if America has to go kinetic with the Mexican cartels. Yeah, well, I think for a viewership standpoint, I think more viewers have heard the term Delta and now can correlate like, oh, aren't those the badasses that we've heard about? When you say special missions, I think I get the tactical side of OPSEC and everything else, but I think for the average endgame user, using the word Delta, they really understand the gravity of, I guess, the level of soldier that you were able to get to and work as.
Yeah, I agree. And to say that, and yes, I got there, but I slid in, and amazing men that were better than me just let me hang out with them for 10 years, and it was amazing. I was grateful for every day they let me do it.
That's pretty much the majority of my career. It's just somehow sliding me in and just trying to be a great man in everything I do. Well, man, let's just get to it. You know, you've seen what's happening recently with the Trump administration designating the cartel as a terrorist organization. You saw the buzz on social media. Everyone's getting excited and all the just chaos. You, as someone who spent some time in special forces and Delta, I'd love to hear just right off the bat what you thought of when you saw that the United States of America is designating the cartel as a terrorist organization.
One, as you mentioned, it created a huge buzz, as it should, because I'm not saying it doesn't open up, opportunities, and it doesn't open up the ability for something much bigger to happen. That's always a possibility. But the truth is, we're going to do what we've always done. What really has opened up for us is a better opportunity to assist them and to basically more or less help them behind the scenes on this. I wouldn't expect little birds and Blackhawks to be flying into Mexico on high value targets anytime soon. But at the end of the day, this is where it starts, so I understand the buzz around this. I'm not saying, something 2, 3, 4 years, down the road, it doesn't turn into something, but the likelihood of something like that happening is so small. I think people really underestimate how risk adverse our military is and how risk adverse our politicians are. As much as the boys would love to do that, I believe I don't really see it coming to fruition.
Recently, whistleblowers have been called before Congress to answer a question that could literally change human history. Is the U.S. military in possession of actual alien technology? On the new 4-part Change Agents Special Series Black Project, an Ironclad original, we examine the history of military research into anti-gravity, strange special access projects, and the work being done by private contractors like Lockheed Martin's Skunk Works to try to understand if UFOs are real, or if the military is hiding a breakthrough that could potentially alter our world. Stay tuned until the end for an exclusive first episode preview. Become an Ironclad YouTube member to binge all 4 episodes of Change Agents Black Project on launch day. Otherwise, catch new episodes weekly. Join now, YouTube at This Is Ironclad.
When you say risk adverse, can you help explain that, and maybe something from your own experience being overseas as many times as you have, that would kind of show our listeners what you mean by that?
Absolutely. I'm more than happy to drop names and give you exact instances of people like Lloyd Austin, who didn't allow us to go on a hostage rescue mission in Syria because there was a hostage under ISIS control, and at the end of the day we could have gone and we could have saved her, but he made the ridiculous statement that she's not under any real current threat of her life, so we're going to continue to play this out, which is ridiculous because at that point the besides her at the moment, who ended up dying, they had beheaded or killed every American hostage within ISIS control. So of course, every day that she's under ISIS control, her life is at risk. And so it's my personal opinion that it's easier for them to say no to an operation and have nothing bad happen on their watch than risk something happens and going to save a fellow American. But that type of risk aversion did keep us from going and doing things. And Lloyd Austin did the same thing on the Virginia Beach side as well for a doctor in Yemen, I believe.
I don't want to put me into the same group of guys as you. I feel like there's a different caliber of man. But guys who serve in the special operations usually serve willing to die for a greater cause. And so as much as maybe someone higher up would say, well, we've put a lot of money into these individuals and their training, a big part of us would be, yeah, but we're willing to go try and make the attempt over anything rather than sitting back. And so when the government is risk adverse in using these, these assets such as us, Delta Rangers, whatnot, I guess that could be, that's extremely frustrating to lose an innocent life in this when we had a chance to use the best of the best to try and save that, that human life, that American life. So on the conversation of being risk adverse, do you think that it's just not time for us to go in kinetic and take out the cartel, or is there some kind of escalation of force before we get there? Is there a couple moves before that we need to kind of accomplish?
As I've gotten older, that answer, definitely changes. I do think we should exhaust all options to allow Mexico to take care of Mexico's problem, and by going in there and kind of, I don't use the word scrutinizing, assessing the situation and saying, hey, what is it that you guys need? What is it that we can make available to you to allow you to police your own country? I think I have no problem with, especially when it comes to Mexico, because it's because of the vicinity of it. It's so much closer to us. Their problems do become our problems. So I really have no problem with that. And from there, the risk assessment, seeing what their capabilities are, seeing where we can plug in that gap is definitely something we should do. Now, that being said, I don't know if you remember the story of, it happened several years ago, but the Mormon family that lived on the Mexican side of the border, and that Suburban basically got shot up thinking that it was a government vehicle, and it wasn't. I would reserve the right for episodes like that to be an exception to that rule and absolutely send a message that you will not mess with Americans. I don't even like that. You cannot murder Americans and not have to live the rest of your life looking over your back, because bearded men are going to come say hello to you at one point, and sooner than later should be the time frame on that.
Yeah, we've had the family member on the show telling us about that story. It was heartbreaking, extremely sad, and I do agree.
Yeah, women and kids. It was a horrible story, and those particular stories are, I believe, are a little bit separate. And by tagging them as a terrorist organization does open that up to us. But if we're being honest, I think that it would come in the form of a drone strike would be much more realistic. Again, going back to how risk adverse our government is, it's just a lot easier, cleaner, and less risky to send a missile their way than put boots on the ground. And to some degree, they may be right.
I have other questions on what we were talking about, but I want to jump to the drone question real quick. When we start using drones, all right, there was just recently dropped that Trump is not against using drones, and there's a potential for, and it's actually not official like news right now. It's just what the word is being spread throughout social media, this unorthodox way of passing information all of a sudden. But the drone conversation is happening right now. And is there any concern for you, just on experience, right, that drones can go both ways, right? We don't have a defense for those that is appropriate for the potential for how many drones can be of abundance in a short period of time. And I'm just curious what your thoughts on the whole drone warfare and the potential of a counter drone attack.
Yeah, if Ukraine has taught us one thing, that that drones are an absolute part of war. That technology is advanced, and it's here to stay, and it is a viable use in warfare, and something we need to be prepared for. And it's safe to say that we have our ear to the ground on what's going on over there, and it's giving us kind of a heads up of what drones are capable of, how they're being used, and more importantly, like you said, how to prepare against them. So I'm not glorifying the Ukrainian-Russian war by any means, but hey, it's happening, and it is something that we absolutely can and should learn from. So that is giving us a leg up, without a doubt, in what's going on over here. What I'll say to that, though, our type of drone usage is really first world, as you know, like type of drone usage, long legs, missiles that can come off the rails from a moving platform, hitting a moving platform and putting it right in the seat of the vehicle that we choose to put it in.